great. Welcome back. That's just recognition, posthumous recognition award at the Grammys, even though it was done backstage. But we'll go straight to our guest, to from red carpets to recording sets, global stages to Africa storytelling. Our guest, World's Creative, who's lived and breathes media, film, and entertainment, and of course, an award-winning filmmaker whose work has shaped Nigeria's modern cinema success both locally and globally.
Yes, of course, we're waiting for.
Of course, and of course, with the Grammys just wrapped up, you know, that plus the historic recognition of Afrobeats, it's only important that we break down what it means to be an African, and of course the storytelling aspect. So we have our guest Kenny Lola Ogunlola, who is an award-winning film director, a producer and screenwriter, has worked on Nollywood hits like 10 Days in the Sun.
And the Royal Hibiscus Hotel. Oh yeah, I got to watch that.
And Christmas in Miami is Africa-winning short film Lodgers and Heroes Diary podcast, spotlight Black excellence across the globe.
Oh, Christmas in Miami. Oh, that's the AY movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
great.
Kenny, good to have you on Celebrate today this morning. How are you doing? Well, I don't know if it's morning over there.
Hey, yeah, good morning, good morning to you, good morning Nigeria, good morning everyone. It's such an honor to be with you guys. I'm so glad to be here.
Nice. Okay, so we're looking at the Grammys and the African wave. Well, Fela's legacy, Afrobeats rise, and what's next for global recognition? You were at the Grammys this year. How are you feeling? How was the energy like? How was the buzz like? And even though we're giving the award backstage now, at least they gave us posthumous. How was it like at the Grammys? Just general overview of the events.
Okay, it was a very beautiful event. Like you can tell from the energy when we were there, it was very vibrant. There was so many pre-parties. There were so many events to attend. Fela was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, and so was Shaka Khan, Cher, Carlos Santana, and a few of all these really, really great legends. I do not think that it was backstage though. It's just that the honorary award, the special merit awards, hold the night before the main award. And that's kind of how it's always been. So it wasn't just about Fela, it was about so many other awards, so many other merit awards. Obviously, the last one was the Lifetime Achievement Award, which had Fela, Carlos Santana, and all these other great legends. So I think the way it works is that these awards hold the eve of the main event.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Following up on this, what did that moment really mean emotionally? Not just about the stage, whether backstage or main stage. I mean, we've gone past that. We've gotten the award. What did it actually mean emotionally? Attaching it to the cultural expectations.
And of course, well, and when they talked, it was very significant for Africa. It was a huge milestone for music. It shows some serious acknowledgement. I know there's all the debate about current African acts not getting the Grammy as much as people think they should, but it clearly shows a reverence for our music. Someone like Fela put on that stage, because Lifetime Achievement Awards obviously is one of the biggest awards from the Grammy. So to be able to be recognized on that level, you could see the joy in Femi Kuti, Yeni Kuti, and everyone who was there. You could see the joy in their faces and what this meant for Nigeria. I think it's huge, and it's an opportunity for younger people, younger artists, younger creatives, and younger Africans to dream as far and as big, and to keep steadfast with their passion. You never know how far it could go, and most times your legacy should live beyond what you do, and I think that's what we can take away from Fela.
All right, Kenny. So quick one. So there's been these conversations around how some of these global platforms kind of underestimate our legends here in Africa. Do you think in that same light, like, a big event like the Grammys and other big global events, do you think they kind of underestimate, quote unquote, African legends?
No, I don't subscribe to that. I think as Nigerians, we tend to get a bit carried away with our impact and our success. We've got huge impact locally, but that doesn't always transcend to international or the global stage as much as we think it does. Because we are in our own corner and we're seeing things from our own corner, it makes us feel that sometimes that this is what the world's all about. But it's a much larger world out there, and there's a lot going on. So when we do get the recognition, I think we should be proud of it. But I do not subscribe to the fact that Nigerians are being marginalized or whatever whatever terms used. I think it's just waiting for your time, and we just keep working. At the end of the day, the current crop of entertainers or the younger generation that we have now, they've moved so far, much further than the previous generations have, and this is how things continue to go. Perhaps in future it will get to the point where we're very mainstream, as you want to put it. But for now, I think it's such a huge advancement, and I think we should be extremely proud of that, rather than thinking that we deserve this, we deserve that. No, there's nothing's guaranteed. A lot of artists go through their lifetime not ever winning anything close to a Grammy. So if you get mentioned in that breath, then you should be extremely grateful for your stars.
Just looking at the African music performance category, who was your favorite to win that category? And then again, did you think that Tyler even deserved to win, even though a lot of people say she's industry plant, you know, she's been able to hack what it means to be sort of like an African American pop star, you know? So who do you think, well, who's your favorite literally for that category? Do you think that Tyler deserved to win on all fronts?
Great question. One of my favorite highlights at the Grammy was attending the Davido show, because Davido had a very small, intimate performance at the Grammy House. I think about 2 nights before. I was there at very, very front row, so I witnessed it. Davido is one of my favorite artists. I really, really love him. But when I saw the lineup, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought Tyler was going to win it, because I'm very happy with what you said there. You know, sometimes with things like Grammy, it's about hacking that terrain, and I think Tyler has done that. Davido is yet to do that. He may well do that soon, but for now, no, is kind of not in that breath yet. And Grammy know how to stick with their kind of people. It's happened time and time again. We have all the almost runs and people who always knock in, and some never get it, some do get it eventually, but it tends to always happen to the more popular choices. But they seem to have their peaks, and when I saw it, to be honest, I knew Tyler was going to do it, because, in fairness, yeah, the music was probably more successful than Davido's music anyway, you know. So, but you know, as Nigerians, all we hear is our own people. Has to be. But yeah,
thank you so
Tyler
much.
was my peak.
Okay, Tyler on your peak. Well, I didn't think Tyler was going to win, though. I had Davido and Burna Boy on my list, and then you know, we had some people who had to, you know, bet that Davido was going to win. Okay, moving forward, looking at it, Tyler won. Yes, congratulations to her. What actually makes an artist Grammy ready, you know, to deserve an award? Is it the story? Is it the streaming? Is it the presence, stage presence? Is it the number of followers you have? We really want to know the criteria that is required for an artist, you know, to be Grammy ready and to be to have so much expectations to win a Grammy, especially from Nigeria.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't claim to know the actual criteria. Obviously, Grammys like honored by the presented by the Recording Academy, and they know the actual categories which they use to award these things. But I mean, from history and through patterns, you can see that there's kind of what you would call like an inside. I don't want to use. There's people that Grammy tends to gravitate artists, and sometimes they're usually not the most popular options. The people who are, especially when you come to like world segments, not the very sort of mainstream popular categories, then you tend to have the favorites, and sometimes it feels like you have to kind of break into the cycle, and when you do break into the cycle, then you become like one of us. So I wouldn't be surprised, for example, if a Burna Boy, for example, wins another Grammy even before any, say, Davido or anybody else, because once you've broken into it, and then if you're kind of like in line with their kind of vibe, I would like to say, then eventually you kind of become a part of it, and then the cycle. Then another thing with Grammy, obviously, it's about the machinery behind the artist and the categories themselves. It's not just about having a good song. It's not just about having a popular song. There's a lot that goes into these awards. The Oscars is coming up very soon, and the Academy Award for Film. It's the same thing. It's not about the most popular film. It's There's a whole lot of push and machinery behind the thing, and sometimes some artists or some products just don't have that leverage internationally or within that cycle. You
Yeah.
might be very popular on the outside, but on the inside, you probably don't have that much sponsorship or push to get you to that level. So having that is really, really key. So there is obviously there's a lot of not campaigning, but there's a lot of background stuff going on in terms of who wins and who doesn't. But ultimately, it depends on your machinery and what you've got in place and what you got going for you, and sometimes it's luck, I guess.
Okay, so a quick one. Let's talk about global acceptance right now. The
Yes.
genre Afrobeat, all right? Do you think we're beginning to get that global relevance when it comes to Africans, or we just being put out there just okay? Let's just put them. After all, we need to make content. Do you think Afrobeat? Because year in year out, we're beginning to have more people, more Africans right now, from Davido to Burna Boy. We're getting nominees, we're getting Tyler, and all of that. So, do you think the genre Afrobeat is beginning to get that relevance, that global relevance it needs?
Um, yeah, that's another great question because at one of the Grammy House open events, I met a producer from Korea who's based in America, and that was part of the conversations we had, and we talked specifically about K-pop, and obviously K-pop is huge now; it's all over the place. It's kind of like the main thing, but he's like very close to that is Afrobeats, and Afrobeats is nearing that level. And I love the fact that he uses getting Afrobeat is coming of age and is getting close to that level because for us on this other side, in our minds, we believe Afrobeat don't blow. We're the one running everywhere, but no, that's not the case. We're coming of age, it's coming up, but if we keep pushing, keep going, then the more mainstream we can get. But this will take time and this will take more people coming. The guys who are running things now in the Afrobeat scene at the top, the guys who are riding on the likes of Fela and people from the previous generation. And so they are doing their own bits as well. It doesn't have to be them. Once we realize that this is an industry, it's not just about the people. It doesn't have to be me, but I can just play my part in getting this to the next level. Davido doesn't have to win the Grammy to have a really, really amazing and successful career. Same as so many other of these guys, but they're playing a huge part in putting us in the world space, in the world, in the face of the world, and this will carry on. Younger guys need to learn from them, and ultimately, the time will come when we can be proper mainstream, and it's more global than we think because now Afrobeat is very popular, mostly within our own communities and within communities of interest to lifestyle pretty much. It's that you go to, there's still so many places that they're like, what's that, but it's getting there, so we shouldn't get carried away at this point. It's about just keep going, keep pushing, and not make this about me. It's not about me, I have to know. I think that's one thing Nigerians are very, they need to really watch out for. We need to think communally, we need to think service, and we need to think globally to keep going. That you're just playing a part in this grand machinery, not just about you. So whether you get it or not, as long as you play your major part, then yeah, looks like
Add to
I'm
that
stuck.
conversation because the category that was created, of course, there was never an Afrobeat category, before, but now this was obviously included. I think it was last year, 2 years ago. So is my problem is with the confusion of whether you're giving someone who is not mainstream Afrobeat. For example, Tyler is not a core she's not even Afrobeat, but of course she's sort of African, maybe pop, and she's able to sort of hack. So is there a confusion confusion as to where we really stand in the scheme of things when it comes to the Grammys, because we have so many Afrobeat artists. Maybe they're not as mainstream as they need to be, but why give someone who is not a core Afrobeat artist? It's been a confusion, because first time, I think last year when Tyler was giving the award, she was like, oh, she didn't even expect it. This year too, she said, oh,
said the same thing.
there's a huge tendency she's going to get the Grammys next year. When we have our, obviously, she's most likely going to get it next year again. So my question is the confusion of appealing to us, or giving us the Fela posthumous, but then you're not recognizing us for who we really are, and then just using us to sell tickets and all of that, honestly. So where do we really stand in the conversation of who we are? These Afrobeats, do they really even understand the category they're giving? Because this was created because of the numbers that they feel Afrobeats represents in the community now.
Right. Okay, I think as Nigerians, we need to relax. You know what I mean? Like, we need to chill. We need to cool down. Like, we're not there yet. I think from the Grammys perspective, the Afrobeat just signifies that African pop music, basically the young pop genre, and that to them is how they see it. Yes, I know that internally in Nigeria, there's the debate of what's Afrobeat. There's the debate of Afrobeat with the S or without the S. What really Afrobeat is South African music Afrobeat and stuff like that. Don't forget that these guys are not Africans, and they maybe don't understand all that extreme dynamics as much as we are trying to play it. And these are just plays that we are working with. These are just terms that we're throwing around. Essentially, it's not so much about whether this actually means something. So, but from the Grammys perspective, it's more about African pop music, young African, the young, vibrant pop music of Africa, rather than saying African music, music of African origin or something. Then that would also put it in the older category, and that may mix it up. But when it's Afrobeat, then it signifies that youth culture, that youth pop culture, and I think that's why they tend to box it. And South African music and Nigerian music is quite similar. Of course, listen to piano and all this kind of stuff. And to the outsider, it just feels like this whole African new wave, new young, vibrant African music coming out. And I think that's why it will be the case. I think Grammy also creating the category is a huge recognition of our efforts, and we should see it as that, rather than thinking Grammy is using us to sell tickets. Grammy was probably selling tickets whether we go or not. Grammy's been in existence for decades, before all our artists, all of them, for all artists we're talking about were born. Grammy's been huge. Grammy's been selling tickets, been selling out, creating controversies. Every now and then there's always controversies because it's an award. People think that one should win, this one should win, that one shouldn't win. So it's normal to get that. But I do not subscribe to this idea of Grammy using Nigeria to sell tickets. Nah. Again, it's us we're just living in our own little hole and think this is what the world is about. No, it is a huge recognition of our efforts, and we should appreciate that, and just wait for our time, really. Yeah.
On a lighter note, if you could produce or direct a Grammy, performance for any African artist, what would you pick?
Obviously, straight up want to jump on my head would be Fela, because I'm just from that, so I'm still feeling that vibration. But I'm trying to see if there will be anybody else. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Fela. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Fela, and I think there's just so many angles to come from if you want to tell a Fela story. I mean, these days there's ladies on there. I can see two beautiful ladies on there. So imagine these days of making a story about this man who decides to marry 27 women in one day. Okay, that's some interesting perspective. And imagine if the guy was alive now, what that would mean and what people would say about it. So I think Fela is a very exciting character. I think it's a very complex character. So definitely, especially as a filmmaker, for now, yeah, I'd love to create something around him and explore him deeper.
All right, Kenny. So, as someone who's been behind the scene in terms of filming, directing, and producing, how important is storytelling in pushing African music globally?
Yeah, storytelling is everything, because people buy into emotions. People buy into your story. essentially. It's not so much about the product. Why is everyone saying the video should have won? The video should have? It's because people are buying into a narrative. Oh, the video has tried. He's been there. He's not with you. It's a good song. Blah blah blah. So forming this story narrative also helps. And this is what I'm saying. Even in terms of Grammy and the campaign or the push to position yourself for such awards, it's what's your story? Where you coming from? Who are the people? How did it shape you to the world? How does the world see you and stuff like that? So storytelling is at the heart of everything. It's about the perception and how you want people to see things. So essentially, it's not always about reality. It's about the perceived reality, and perceived reality usually sometimes is what you want people, is how it is positioned for people to be able to see it. So at the heart of everything is storytelling, really, and being a good storyteller always helps. Not always personally, but even collectively. What narrative are we trying to push? And this is why working together has to help. Because if there's too much division, then there's no clean narrative, there's no clear path, in our expression. That one's going that way, that one's going this way, and it's kind of all over the place. But if there's unity and everyone realizes that, look, the sky is big enough for everyone to fly, and everyone will fly successfully. I don't have to stomp you down for me to rise, for me to be that, or I don't have to, you don't have to win a Grammy, really and truly. You'll be lovely, you'll be nice. I'm a filmmaker. One day I want to walk away with an Academy Award, and I hope I do sooner than later, but it doesn't matter, really. It's just, will be great to have that, but what you want is a career that is satisfying and is glorious, and how much impact you make on people's life. So trying to find a way to tell that, to imprint that narrative into the minds of younger Africans, I think is what our responsibility also should be like when it comes to storytelling.
Wrap up the conversation. Which new artist should we start watching out for early, or which artist is on your radar, just generally on the African scene?
I think there's quite a few of them. I think Omalay's got some really good trajectory right now. Trajectory. I think it's someone is an artist to look out for the future. Ira Star, for sure. I see she's kind of like really pandering towards the Tyler kind of vibe, and that's good. Just keep it up, keep going in that. But it's just that we're Nigerians and we're very institutional in our own industry as well. So to an extent, we're also seeing like an outside industry. So the likes of Tyler and all that, they're just individuals who are within sort of like the mainstream Hollywood cycle. But for us, we're kind of like a competition in a little way. It's kind of like an offshoot. It's again like an opposing thing. So yeah, it will be slightly harder for us. I just want to throw that in. But in terms of artists, yes, I think Omalay, Tyler, obviously, I think Ashake is my favorite Nigerian artist right now, number one. But Ashake is not future artist again. If we're talking of people who were promising, but I think right now I'll stick with Omalay and Ira Star.
Nice. Thank you so much for being diplomatic. And then I feel like
again. All right. Thank you so much.
But how was I being diplomatic?
No, you answered our questions, correctly and fairly. But then I do not agree. You saying Ira Star is actually planning towards Tyler's vibe.
She is.
Because it looks like it's
what it is. It's already
well, they could be friends or maybe industry friends, but yeah, she's on her own lane.
Funny how we could have conversations on how Ira Star actually put Tyler on the global stage she is today, because without that collaboration, they wouldn't have heard about Tyler at all. But anyway, it's your yeah.
We need to wrap up the conversation. Thank you so much, Kenny, for coming through on the show. It was nice having you on Silverbird today. Thank you very much for doing justice to the conversation, and we'll have you again on Silverbird today. Thank you very much. Well, we had a really great time, but thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Really great having me, and thanks for the opportunity.
See you another time. Well, from what we said, Fela's legacy is clear. We clearly need to do more work
Yeah.
because we're not there yet. We
Yeah.
can see it. We are not close to it.
Maybe when we start butchering that whole, we stop those conversations around whether that Fela is great or not in Nigeria here, then, you know,
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have our next guest with us. Don't go anywhere.